Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandi, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey everybody.
I could have found you somewhere.
Man, we all just suddenly appeared.
I know, it's like boom, there we are. Well, happy Friday, everybody. It's been a long, hard week for a lot of us, and we're still here, we're still kicking, and we get to have a little bit of fun tonight. Absolutely have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We have Rob tonight. Well, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, and his encounter stories from his book. We're actually going to get to hear a story from his book. I'm excited about it. We do have a few things that we need to talk about, so we're going to wait just a few minutes until some more people come in. I was trying to say hi to people, but my spell check is really nasty. Every time I try to spell something, it's like, nope. And it gives me another word. I'm like, that is not what I meant. That is not what I meant.
And it is, no, never mind. It is never duck, you know?
It is never duck. Absolutely never duck. Anyway, so, of course, you can see that Paranormal Paul is with us tonight. If you're going to Ashmore Estates tomorrow, Paul is going to be there.
Yep.
So, and he will be going live at, of course, 7 p.m. Central from Ashmore Estates itself. So that's going to be exciting.
Yep. Hopefully we'll get a few people to do a little investigating and have some fun on live on the show. So that'll be a good time.
Exactly. You're like, hand them a camera. Here, go.
Yeah.
Go find something. Tell me what you got going on. You know, that's going to be a lot of fun. And Paul is going to be on, Paranormal Roundtable this evening. So after we're done, make sure you check him out on Josh's show right after or whenever he starts. He never starts. He always confuses me because he never really starts exactly when he says.
Yeah.
It's always
it's
like
usually
15 minutes later.
Yeah.
So
and you know what?
like
I've had a long day at work, and I'm on my second cup of coffee tonight already. So I'm ready to go.
Oh my goodness!
I'm ready to go for Josh.
And I really thought about that too. I was like, I would really, really like a cup of coffee, but I got my water instead. Yeah. It's just been a very long day.
Yes.
And thank you, Catherine. Yes, we did make our 3,000. We are so happy. Woo-hoo! So, wait. Of course, we're on the road to the next 1,000. There it is. Yay! So, we are on the road to the next 1,000, and we hope to get that fairly soon. We're just so excited. We are just beside ourselves with everybody, subscribing and everything. And it's been a beautiful ride, and we hope to have many, many, many more. So thank you, everybody. You're awesome. I can't do the thumbs up like Paul. Yeah, he gets the thumbs up. Oh, there it is. See, I can't do that.
Well,
neither
like
can
Rob.
Like
the Jeep thing, it's a Mac thing. You guys wouldn't understand.
Yeah, we just don't have it. We just don't have it. All right, so let's get serious for a second. It has come to our attention. We just found out that one of our near and dear people who have been in our chat, been a great friend to Blondes and Booze and to Texas Front Porch and to Paranormal Paul and many, many other podcasters, Glenn Dannison has now passed away. I am not sure exactly when. It was either yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure. We send our condolences to his family, and he will be missed. I don't even know what to say. He was just such a really cool guy,
Yeah, he excuse me, he was a great guy. When I started my channel, he was one of my original subscribers.
Wow.
3 years ago.
Right.
And he was always in the chat room, always left comments after shows. And I made him a moderator. Did a great job. And
always very supportive.
when I heard that news, Be Kind, thanks to Be Kind for sending that out earlier today.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got that, and like anything else in life, I was never met him in person.
Yeah.
But I just
it was this morning. Okay. So Be Kind said it was this morning.
It was I just felt he was a good person. He was a member of my channel for 3 years.
Yeah. He even watches he was watching Randy and myself on Truth or Tinfoil, and we're just getting that show up off the ground, and he was there every week. So, I can't say enough. He was just a wonderful human being. He just was.
Absolutely.
I never met him either, but he was always in my chat, always on my Facebook page, and just seemed like a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
So very
absolutely
sad and heartbroken to hear that this morning.
Right. I know it. But like I said, our deepest condolences to the family, and we'll be praying for you.
Yes.
So tomorrow, of course, half of Blondes and Booze will be at Ashmore Estates. Now, I'm sad to be home. I'm really sad. I'm missing out, but that's okay. We all know that, about my mother and that I need to be here. And she even gave me the pouty lip this morning. I said, Mom, I feel like I'm missing out. And she just went, I was like, oh, well, thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. But she's glad that I'm here, and that's okay. That's okay. And we had been talking about going to the Haunted Hill House next weekend in Texas, and I had it all planned out and everything was paid for, but that is now canceled for myself also. So I will not be going to the Haunted Hill House, so we won't have any special shows for that either. But I will be at the Alabama Bigfoot Conference in Anniston, Alabama, on June 7th and 8th. So if you haven't got your tickets, make sure you get your tickets. I mean, they're very affordable. They're $30 online and $35 at the door. We have some great speakers lined up. Of course, we have Bigfoot Michigan Rob is going to be giving us a little speech that day. And then we have Martin Groves, Greg Ogles, Jason McLean, of course, the Blondes and Booze, Daryl Denton, Barton Nunnelly, and our MC for the day is going to be Tex Wesson. Paul, you making that one?
I don't know. As of right now, no. I don't have any vacation time to get off work. So
Oh no. Well, Rob's excited.
Yes, I'm always
Rob gets
excited.
to fly into St. Louis.
Yeah.
I get to fly into St. Louis, and I get to hang out and spend a full day with Krista and her family. Then we're driving to Kentucky. Then I'm going to get to hang out with Barton and Letitia. And then we're going to finish the trip by driving into Anniston. And I'm also looking forward to meeting you and Krista for the first time, Brandi. So
I know. We already know each other, but it's like you've never, looked at me in person,
I gotta touch your shoulders, touch your body, your hands, of course.
Your hand, I get to touch your hands.
You know what I mean. That it always slips.
Well,
I always say something dumb in a show. You know that.
I have so many thoughts and questions going through my head right now.
Val says she's got Now says she's got 6 weeks PTO and nowhere to go. Yeah, you do. Anniston, Alabama.
Yeah.
Can I buy some off
I
you?
keep
Maybe I
giving
can
you
use it.
places to go. Come on. We're gonna be there. It's gonna be a great time. And of course, on the 7th, there in Anniston, we have the meet and eat. That's what we're saying. The meet and eat. Uh, but the room is already been, all the seats have been reserved in that room. But don't worry, we're not closing that door at all. So just go sit down, find yourself a table, grab you something to eat. And when you're done, come on in. Them doors are open. We're not turning anybody away. We're going to be there just chatting and everything else from there. Well, and then Rob has informed me that after that, we're going to go somewhere else. We don't know where yet, but we're going to figure it out. Then we'll let everybody know who shows up at the meet and eat where we're going.
Like I say, it's a 1-day event. I don't plan on doing any sleeping when I leave my house Thursday morning. When I do these conferences, when I meet my good friends, especially the ones meeting for the first time, sleep is not an option.
No.
Right.
No. And you got to think about it this way. You don't even have to drive.
No, I don't.
You can sleep in the car.
I can't. Well, with Krista, well, I'm sure she'll be yakking all the way. In fact, we'll probably go on our phones and do a live on the road show.
Oh my God. Let me tell you.
I've already got things planned. When I get to the, and everybody, I'm going to say this. If you're subscribed to my channel, make sure the alert bell's on because I'm be doing some lives from the airport. I already planned that I'm going to interview people at the airport live. I'm going to ask, what do you think about Bigfoot? I am Bigfoot Mission, Rob, and I'm going to.
You might as well ask him on the plane. Just ask him on the plane.
Yes. So I'm going to be doing random lives for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes on my channel, just, to have fun mostly. So if you guys aren't doing anything, make sure the alert bell's on because I'll have some surprises. I wish I would have done that when it took me 15 hours to get home 2 years ago from Alabama when I got accosted by the the security, for my Bigfoot cast. That was hilarious. And I broke out Bigfoot. I broke out Bigfoot stories, and they let me go. True story.
Nice.
Yeah. When Kristen and I go anywhere, I always drive, which I prefer that. It's just a thing for me is just to be able to drive because I drive everywhere by myself. And usually when I go on trips and things like that, I'm by myself anyway. So, and Krista is like, well, what are we listening to? So that's when we catch up on all the podcasts. We get the YouTube going and I plug it in my car and then it's like we're listening to podcasts in stereo. It's pretty fun, So we enjoy that a lot. So Chris and I, we don't do a lot of talking. Really, I mean, we do, but then most of it is sitting and listening to all the podcasts we're trying to catch up on because it is difficult, with having, jobs and families and stuff like that. You can't really, listen to everything you want to. So I have to catch up on mine on my days off or, when I'm traveling.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're ready. To jump into this story. Now, like I said, we're getting a treat tonight because we are getting a story from Rob's book.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to me because, I've read the book, but it's just kind of like when he tells the stories, it's not like me reading it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's more exciting when you're reading your own story. And I'm like,
yeah, yes. And, I've done this maybe 4 or 5 times because, I want people to buy the book. But I think it's always cool once in a while to put out a story for people to maybe get intrigued, perhaps buy it. And by the way, you can buy it on Amazon. Just type in Bigfoot Mission Rob. It pulls up. For those that have bought it, leave a review. It helps the analytics. But I've done the stories a couple of times. And thank you. Thanks, Brandi, for that. And it's like, and why not? Because book 2 is coming out at the end of July. So this is book 1. Book 2 is ready to be out. I can't believe it's been a year in July for book 1 already. And so, yeah, and this story is the first story in the book. And you know what? I haven't read the book that many times, to be honest. Of course, when you do your edits, you write it, you're just like, okay, great, it's out. The first story of the book has the most errors grammatically, with small letters and little letters. I'm like, oh my God, Rob, if they read this, you'll think you're a dork, But as it turns out, the book's doing well. And I normally like to do the stories from memory, but I gotta tell you, I'm going to read this one only because there's so much detail and description in this one that I would forget that. And it's only going to be a 2 or 3 minute read. It's fascinating, so I didn't want to leave out the details. And then after that, we can talk a little bit about it and move on from there.
And you know what? I'm
Yeah.
on your Amazon page right now with your book. You got a 4.8 rating, 36 ratings. You got 5 stars basically. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I noticed
That's
that.
awesome.
Everybody that bought it gave me a 5-star, except for one person gave me a 1-star. Why you gave me a 1-star is still my question, because it's definitely not 1-star worthy. I'm sorry. I disagree 100% with that.
Yeah.
Of course, the author's going to say that. I disagree with that
but
1 star.
But 1-star? I mean, come on. You really
Well, you
must
know what?
not like me. You must
See,
not like me.
Now ask me what I do. Ask me what I do. Because I go and I read a lot of books, and I listen to a lot of audio books as well. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll look at the reviews. And if it has like 30 good reviews and only 1 bad one, well, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that book.
Yeah.
I operate the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to like it. They probably bought it out of they thought maybe it was going to be a mystery novel. I don't know. But
Well, who knows?
But you know what? I don't care. They gave you the analytic, and that's all that matters, really. So thank you for the 1-star.
That's right. And the other thing on all of this is that if you're going to Anniston, Alabama, and you have the book, bring it. Mm-hmm. He's going to be there sitting in his chair with his pen, ready to sign each and every one, because I'm bringing my book.
Yes. For those of you that are going, I'll sign your book, and I'm bringing about 20 or 30 other copies with me. So if you haven't bought it and you're in Addison, it's going to be for sale there as well. And I'll sign it for you, take a picture, post it on Facebook,
Like the blogs do. We take pictures of everybody and post them.
Yeah,
Catherine's getting her book signed.
We're just like,
yeah. See,
that's right.
Catherine Gay, my sister, my big sister.
I got mine right here.
Yeah,
it's ready. It's ready. It's right here.
I can't wait to sign. Yours is gonna be the first one I sign, Brandi.
Well, that's because you're signing mine Friday.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna sign mine Friday. All right. Let's get into this story.
Yeah, let's get into the story. I'll get out with this. I normally do them from memory, but I'm just gonna read this one because number one is from how I wrote the book, so it gives everybody an idea. So that's kind of why I do it, because normally I would do it from the top of my head. But so that's what I'm gonna do from, and I normally don't, but that's my reasoning. So I'm gonna get started with this. This is from the book, and this the title of this was Thunder Mountain Dogman. And I got this from a subscriber or an emailer, which a lot of the stories came from. So a lot of this will be the guy talking to me, which is another thing that's cool about the book. It's the first person by people telling me their story, and it's pretty much how it goes. So it starts out like this. Rob, I do believe that dogmen exist. I also believe that they are here with no good intentions. I think they just like to create chaos, anxiety, and much worse. I don't know if Lucifer himself has a dog. If he did, I suspect it would be a dogman. My name is Tom, Rob. I was unsure about giving away where in Idaho this is. Then I thought perhaps giving a general location would not be a bad idea, because, Rob, I just need people to know. The place I live in is at or near the foothills at Thunder Mountain. This takes place in the year of 2017. My great uncle Max had just passed away, and Max did okay for himself. He did well enough, in fact, that I received a small ranch or farm that came with 2 cows, 2 horses, and roughly 15 chickens. The home was nice with a wraparound porch where I could survey my property and just get lost in the beauty of the land, the mountains, the river, and the woods that line the property. I had a stable for the horses and a barn with a chicken coop. The barn was left open for the cows to enter in and out as they pleased when they were done grazing about the field. I am not a farmer, nor do I attend cattle. I planned on selling the cows and the chickens as I had other plans for this property. Most likely, I was planning on keeping the horses. Now that the stage is set, here's what I went through. After living on the ranch for several weeks, everything was fine. I had gotten in touch with a local rancher to have the cows and chickens taken off my hands. And frankly, I was relieved. In fact, I just about gave the animals away just to get rid of them. The deal was struck on a Monday, and by the weekend, they would be gone. Wednesday night, I heard a ruckus about 9 p.m. in the evening out back. I was coming from the chicken coop inside the barn. I never heard these chickens making so much noise, and frankly, they sounded nervous. It was just different. The cows were out in the field, and the horses were in their barn. Upon venturing over the chicken coop, I noticed that the coop was smashed to pieces, and half of the chickens were ripped apart. They literally were torn as if done by a hand. The majority of their heads were pulled completely off. The seven or so chickens that were making the ruckus were spared for whatever reason. I don't know. More than likely, they were trapped on the underside of the chicken coop. It somehow appeared that who or whatever did this did it for pure pleasure. And I do mean pleasure. It was just what I had sensed. These chickens were not eaten. They were just flat out killed. The story gets worse from here. The cows were a distance away. I'm guessing they were a bit frightened because the distance from the chicken coop was considerably further. I felt it strange that during this commotion, I did not hear the horses from the other barn. I started to get a queasy feeling in my stomach, and my heart was pounding as I came closer to the barn door. I got past the door and looked inside, and to my horror, disbelief, and shock, there laid my 2 horses dead. Both throats had been slashed, and their heads were twisted almost completely around, and it appeared as though their necks were broken. I'm in shock. What happened here, I thought? What or who could perform such evil? I suppose if the chickens and even the horses had been fed upon, eaten, dragged off the property, it might make a slight difference. Maybe a desperate predator that was extremely hungry. I mean, Rob, this felt like a murder scene. I tried to get my composure together and call the local authorities to have them investigate, and I imagine I would have to fill out all sorts of reports. At first, my hands were shaking. I went to my liquor cabinet and poured myself a good long belt. After I swallowed the shot down, I decided to make the call to the local authorities. I was sitting by my bay window with the tree line 30 yards away, and you could see the mountains in the distance. It was a calming sight with a very high and bright moon, kind of illuminating the area. At first, I was feeling calmer after my drink and the vision in front of me of the beautiful scenery. Well, that vision gave me my first glance of the devil himself. On two legs, rapidly approaching, red, glowing eyes were ablaze. The moon illuminating a perfect shadow, an elongated snout, ears pointed and pitched high off the side of the head, glistening sharp fangs. Before you know it, this beast was at my bay window looking in. In fact, it is so tall that I had to crouch down to peer into the window. And peer I did. It looked directly into my soul. I feared for my life. Then it appeared to grin at me. A sinister grin. It mocked me. It slowly brought up from its left hand, and I mean a hand with extended claws, were two dead chickens. With the right hand, the devil dog raised it up and waved goodbye, as if to say, till we meet again, and it vanished off into the moonlight. Yeah, you know, can you imagine?
Wow.
So it killed all those animals,
Yep.
but only took the 2 chickens.
Yep. Well, and brought him to show the guy in his window what he did.
I've got these. I'm just taking these. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Probably showing him,
Now,
look what I can do, and you're next.
You know?
Right. And I can almost understand why that it would kill the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to be kicked by a horse. I'm just telling you, it can kill you.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe if they posed a threat to it while it was out there rummaging around, that maybe that's why the horses were killed.
You know, I've had some
What do you
violent
think?
stories from people. I mean, there are some similar to that, but that had to have been the most repulsive. One other one was about a Dogman that allegedly killed this man's German Shepherd, which was very sad, much sadder than this story, because that's your dog, right? But this, and the horse, again, I should retract that. The horses, I'd be sad. That's very sad. I mean, anything that gets maimed or killed, even the chicken. I mean, so
it's a family member, no matter how big or small it is.
It's a family member, but you know, I think there's a lot of interwoven analysis you can do on this. With first, it just, it killed, the chickens, dropped down the horses, but then to bring and show the person in his window, like Paul said, there's so much
Thank you,
going
Justin.
on
Sorry.
here.
Thank you, Justin.
There's so much going on here with this. I mean, to me, it's demonic, right?
Well, JoJo says it sounds like it was almost premeditated.
Yeah.
When the guy even mentions in the story murder. You think crypt is, you don't think the word murder, in the stories I've got, no one ever said murder. It felt like, as he says in the story, a murder scene, and that was staged. The blood in the barn, I mean, it just seemed like it was a setup to terrify this guy. And like Paul said, show the dead chickens in his hand to say, hey, buddy, you could be next or maybe not. And grins at him. That's the thing that always intrigues me about the dog man with a snout, how people always say it can smile and grin. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, we've seen our own personal pets try to make that little smile, and they can't. It's very difficult with the muzzle of the snout. But to have a werewolf-looking creature to like grin distinctly at you like that is, I mean, I don't know if this guy still lives there or sold his place. He doesn't make mention of that. And I tell you what, there's a lot to
Okay.
unpack in the story.
Yeah.
There is a lot to unpack because if you're going back to folklore, it sounds like what it had done is more werewolf versus dogman behavior. Like it's almost like it's somebody that didn't like him, or had something against him and decided, hey, we're just going to go kill some of his livestock and just show him I did it. And he'll never know it's me.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to the werewolf kind of story, which, I mean, we've been talking about it forever about what is the difference between a werewolf and a dogman. I mean, what is the real difference? I mean, when they're both in the form, what's the difference? We're trying to figure it out. Tail, no tail, I don't know.
Yeah, we are. And again, as you know, none of us are experts on this. We have many great guests on our shows and researchers and talk to experiencers. He says it's a dog man, but if you look back, Brandi, to your point, werewolf sounding to me. But for me to grasp a werewolf is just so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get it. I so want to believe. Part of me does. But Dogman, that's.
Well, and I thought that a lot too. Until I figured out there's demonic entities out there. And now that I know that these are demonic entities that have never walked, in a human form on this earth, and that they are totally something different, it kind of gives you a different perspective. Now, I always believed in Bigfoot, and I always believed in ghosts and things like that. That's been a big part of my life. The Dogman was the hardest one for me to grasp, because there's not really a whole lot of evidence out there on Dogman like Bigfoot. I mean, there's not this video that's saying, hey, look at this, look at it. It's right here. You can see it walking or crawling or whatever it's doing. And many reports that I've been hearing from all different kinds of people, they have all different types of behaviors, where Bigfoot has a tendency to have the same type of behaviors. It's very strange for me.
You know what? That's a great point, because with Bigfoot, a lot of the behaviors are kind of common, and we all have heard about a lot of the commonalities with their behaviors.
Yes.
Some are different and obscure, because that's to be expected.
Right.
But with this Dogman creature or being, I think it's more of a being. I mean, we can get into that a little bit, I guess, later, but they just seem that they have nefarious intentions, but their characteristics and behavior is all over the place. But in one common element I find with the quote unquote Dogman is, I think they purposely like to scare you. I think they like to intimidate.
Yeah.
I've also heard
that seems to be true.
I think that's true. And this guy, his name is Butch Witkowski. He passed away a couple of years ago, and he was a cryptozoologist, an investigator in the paranormal and cryptids for like 30 years of his life. Very credible guy. And he thought that dogmen and werewolves were different. In fact, he always called the dogman an upright canid, where it typically was no more than 6 foot tall, walked on hocked legs, bent backwards, and had the head of a German Shepherd, but had the ability to walk bipedally. But it was really no different than a dog, but it had its ability to run and walk. And it wasn't all that nefarious, but it was, meaner than a dog, let's say. And then he always thought, and his opinion was always this about the other Dogman, which is the one with the straight human-like legs, the robust chest, the thin waist, the werewolf-looking head from American Werewolves in London. He firmly believes, and this is how I got on this subject, he believes that those aren't even natural. And he goes, Rob, to be demonic might be a stretch, although he believes there's a lot of demonic forces in Mother Nature. But he was an advocate of the governmental created beings that we've done or other countries have done and implanted in our forests, which I guess is not far-fetched. And I tend to believe that theory as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So that was can you bring that comment back up, Paul, that you just had? That was from Keith, I think.
Yep, right there.
Yeah, this one right here. It says the DM, the Dogman sure do make your adrenaline run when you're face to face. Now that is a good point. Now I have had my adrenaline spike several times in my lifetime, and I tell you what, I cannot focus on the who, what, where, when, and why when I have that adrenaline rush. It's just kind of like you can pick out certain things, but you'll notice that when you calm down and recall the story, it may change a little bit because you may remember something else, or you may not remember it the same. And that, and I'm wondering if that's what's happening with a lot of these stories and encounters we're hearing, is that the story may have changed a little. Perhaps with this story, Rob, that you read us. Maybe this guy is recalling this Dogman and how it kind of like grimaced or smiled or whatever it did and showed him the chickens. Maybe it was just looking in on him and maybe not making that face, but that's what he saw in his head when when you get the bejesus scared out of you. I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
He could have maybe added that for showmanship and writing skills, I guess. I don't know, but here's the thing: if we just eliminate the grin, to have some werewolf-looking creature at your window with a
don't be
dead
looking at my
chicken
window
in his hand after he killed your horses and your chickens, beheaded the chickens. Didn't eat the chickens, didn't eat the horses, just flat, as he said, murdered them.
Mm-hmm.
That would scare the hell out of me. I don't care if he was grinning, smiling, or frowning. I don't know that I would make that out. I would see the dead carcasses.
Right. And you're sitting there, and you said he only had like 2 of this and 2 of that, but he had only like 12 chickens, and it killed half of them.
Yes.
But why didn't it get the rest of them?
Well, here's the thing: as I said in the story, half were killed, but then the shed fell down. He thinks the other ones were killed because of the structure falling on their bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
my thing is, have you ever tried to catch a chicken?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Have you ever tried to catch a chicken?
Well, no. I've never tried, but I've seen it, and I just laugh at the people. We've all seen the
trying to catch them. Yeah. But it would make sense that if they were in a building and they were contained, that it'd be easier for a predator to come in and get them, of course.
But my question is, locked up in a chicken coop. I'm not a farmer. I've never raised chickens. So I'm assuming when I think, and I've never seen an actual chicken coop.
They're not big.
I'm guessing they're penned in behind a box made with wire that you keep them penned in, right?
Yes.
And you have to open the door to get to them, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Sonny says chicken can run like a flash. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know how fast that Dogman had to be moving.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder. Thank you, Tyler. I put chickens in a more secure coop at nighttime, only because of predators. Of course, then raccoons will get in, steal the eggs, and blah blah blah, and perhaps kill off a chicken. You just never know. I mean, you have your smaller your trash pandas and things getting in there, but you also have your bigger predators like your coyotes and things. So I'd always keep them in something a little bit more shut up. I wouldn't keep them behind wire. I would actually keep them in a wooden structure.
And I
So,
do think that this chicken coop was inside the barn, though, right? I think what I
I think
read.
that's what you said. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah, so that's
mhm.
And this was in Idaho, correct?
Thunder Mountain, Idaho. Yeah, the foothills of
Idaho, yeah.
Thunder Mountain, foothills of Thunder Mountain, Idaho. Yes.
Yeah. Someone in the chat was asking where that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, so absolutely that. I mean, you've got predators. There's absolute predators there.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I would think that it was sending the guy that sent the email to you, sending him a message just by the way it grinned at him that, get this stuff
Yeah.
off my land or you're next.
Or bring me more.
Well,
I'm
really
gonna
hungry
take
and I
these
got
two.
friends.
well,
Give me
yeah,
some more.
maybe he was saying, please continue on with the free, easy meals.
Yeah.
So I don't have to hunt. Or maybe he said, I think Brandi might have mentioned it. Maybe you did, Paul, earlier in the show. I think Paul did. Or maybe he said, you're next.
Yeah.
Now, it's unfortunate with a lot of these stories I get from people. I follow up. Hey, do you still live there? A lot of people always tell me if they moved or they stayed there. This guy didn't say. So let me ask you two this. If this scenario happened to you two, either one of you, would you consider moving, or would you just waver through the storm and try to kill this thing?
I would consider moving.
Okay.
I mean, these animals aren't cheap. I mean, especially horses. I mean, they're not cheap, and to have them destroyed like they are. And then, the chickens, I'm sure you're using them for eggs or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
I would get out of there and maybe find a
And the
different
thing
place.
is, though, too, that he did make mention that he wasn't a farmer, and his chickens and I think his cows, he had already pre-sold them,
Mhm.
right? So this guy had no intentions on keeping them. But still, though, Paul, man, like you say, man, just to see that type of creature at my window showing me death
Mhm.
in its hand.
I think that would be the reason why I would move.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
more so than than having
Yeah.
all your animals slaughtered and everything.
Yeah.
If it knows enough that you're inside the house
Yeah.
and it's showing you, hey, look, this is what I can do. Look what I did with these horses.
Yeah, right.
You're next, buddy.
I wouldn't put it past
Well,
you. Brandi,
okay.
you're gonna move. You're gonna move, or you're gonna stay.
I would take it. I would stay.
Okay.
Only because I mean, you got to think of a bear. If a bear got in your barn, well, you're going to lose some livestock real quick.
Yeah.
And if you
Well-
believe that if these are flesh and blood beings, you know what I mean? If these are flesh and blood beings, then, like I said, I would stay.
Well,
But not
though,
knowing, I would still stay.
I tell you what, though, Brandi, I agree with you to that extent. I think I would stay, probably wait it out a little bit, but you have to remember, this wasn't Smokey the Bear at his window,
Right.
waving
No,
a pumpkin pie at him.
it wasn't. But I mean, you read some of these reports on bear sightings, and they're climbing up balconies and looking in people's windows. You
yeah,
know what
well,
I'm
they
saying?
are, yeah.
Just, just they're climbing up
no.
a couple stories to get into stuff.
Bears in some parts of, depending where you live, are kind of like squirrels. You notice how squirrels will come up with, they're almost like your backyard pet, for God's sakes. They're almost so domesticated. A bear is kind of like that in some parts of the world.
Justin made a
you
good
just
point
go ahead
here.
and think that. You just go ahead and think that, Rob. Just because they're cute doesn't mean they're nice.
Justin,
No, thank you. I carry bear spray for a reason.
Justin brought up a good point. Do you have to do a Dogman disclosure if you sell the house? I mean, you have to if it's
Absolutely
haunted,
not.
right?
Nope. Only if it's haunted in some states.
I would say no, because who the hell believes in Dogman outside of us?
Right.
Well, can you imagine that? Hey, look, I got Bigfoot living out here. I just want to let you know that.
I got a Dogman in my yard and on the Bigfoot.
How you feel about that?
Just let you know.
Just don't have any chickens. Don't let your small dogs out at night. I'm just saying.
Do you have small children that resemble chickens?
Exactly. I mean, but you're right. That brings it back to a point, though. If I had, well, my daughter is she's a young teenager, but she's still a small in stature. But if I had young children, I would have to think I'd move.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't have that.
Yeah, I think if you were, if we were single people without kids, I would stay just because I'd want to probably get to the bottom of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was married with kids, first of all, the wife would probably make me move anyway. Yeah.
Right. Well, it would be like, well, we're buying a new
guess what? We're not going
to put outside
anymore.
with cameras, and we're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you end up moving and they follow you to a different farm?
Hey, you know what? That's another crazy thing, Paul, because we know these cryptids, Bigfoot, or even Dogman, they know once they have your scent or they get into your mind, they know where you're at. We've had so many stories. I did it in the same book. Those red eyes follow me home. This guy is 15 miles away from his home, and these red eyes of an alleged dogman followed him all the way throughout the forest till he got to the freeway. He got to the freeway and drove another 40 minutes to get home. But during this trip through the forest, these red eyes, because he was on a road with tree line on both sides, and he could see, he's got this feeling, and now and again he would see these eyes, and he couldn't believe he was going 45 miles an hour, and couldn't believe that whatever this was keeping up with him. And then finally he broke to the main freeway, which was just pretty much the roadway, and then he's like, then he felt a relief. Then this guy's telling me he gets home again 20 miles 30 miles from his home, from just a freeway traveling, not from the forest. So maybe we're talking 50 miles. I don't know.
Maybe.
Later on that night, on his back porch, he's having a gin and tonic. And he lived in the woods. His property was in the woods from the tree line. Not even 24 hours later, sees the red eyes glaring at him from the tree line. Come on. Never had that experience in his life. Wow. So to answer your question, hell yeah, they can follow you home.
Well, I mean, being canine, of course, their sense of smell is phenomenal. So
yeah,
that's possible. I would believe that it could follow you for quite a distance.
I have the unique talent of being able to smell a beer from a mile away. Because I was in the bar business. Hey, I was in the bar business for 13 years.
You can smell it. Yeah. Okay. There you go. But
you sold another book tonight, Rob.
Oh, thank you, whoever bought it. I can't really chat. Thank you so much. Thanks, DJ.
Yeah, he's on our setup tonight, so he can't really chat. You can chat at
I gotta go on my phone. Then I gotta say hi. This is Rob. All I will say to all 138 of you, hello. I love you all. Thank you. Subscribe to the Blogs and Booze if not already. Paranormal Paul, and of course BMR if not already. What the hell?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That reminds me of a story that you were just talking about, and I'd seen this on YouTube, and it was talking about this family who had moved into this 2-story type of farmhouse, and the wife did not like guns in the house. She just said, we have children, it's just not a good idea. So the man put the guns in the shed, which were, probably about 20, 30 yards away from the house. So one night they had noticed eyes in the tree line, just outside of their view. They couldn't see, but they could see the eyes shimmering. and there was 5 sets of eyes. They were just hanging out there. So they watched him, and the next thing you know, they started to move closer, and they were flanking the one side of the house. And then they appeared into the moonlight, and they could see what appeared to be 5 dogmen hanging out just right at the tree line.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Right. So the man decided he needed to go get his guns. He didn't know what these things were, but he knew they weren't right, that he needed to go get his guns. So he went to go out the back door to the shed. And then next thing you know, the dogmen started rushing right on in. So the man ran back into the house and just locked the doors. So they kind of hunkered down in, on the first floor. And next thing you know, they could hear like tip tappy, like of the nails walking around the porch.
Oh, wow.
So they decided, these things could break into the windows. They could do anything. We're going to go up to the second floor. So the whole family moved up to the second floor. Next thing you know, they could hear the tip tappy going around on the patio or on the porch. And then next thing you know, they could hear scratching and clawing at the side of the house.
Yeah. Okay.
So they pulled all the blinds down because they didn't want, anything to see where they were at in the upstairs. So they pulled all the blinds down, shut all the curtains, and then they could hear the scratching coming further and further and further up the house. So after a while, they started hearing the clawing and the scratching on top of the roof of this house. And as they were nearing the morning time, you could see the sun coming up, and then they heard these things coming down the side of the house, and they'd hear them around the porch, and then they moved off into the tree line as the sun came up.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, these people were scared to death, and these things were scaling their house.
Can you imagine?
I couldn't even. First of all, I would be, I don't know, livid with my wife going, now you see why I have guns in the house?
Yeah.
Can we not figure out something else why we don't have guns in the house? So needless to say, as the story ends, they saw just the shadow of them the following night along the tree line. And before it got completely dark, they got in the car, they left, they never went back.
Wow.
And that's just crazy. That is just crazy. Those people said, nope, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm not staying. Can you believe that?
I mean, crawling on the house, I don't think I'd stay either.
Yeah, they were actually crawling up the side of the house. But these things, by looking at the prints and everything that I've seen and the claws that they have,
Yeah.
I absolutely believe they could scale a wooden house easily.
I believe that
It
too,
would be
Brandi.
nothing.
I believe I believe that. I believe that happened. If you remember, Brandi, maybe a month or two ago, you and I did a night show on the Dogman on a woman's roof. On
Yes.
the roof, walk around and tearing the shingles off of her roof, tearing through the top of
Yes.
the roof to get inside her house. And
Yes.
she's seen all the shingles being flung onto the ground. And then
Yeah.
she ran outside, and the Dogman creature jumped off the roof and landed 5 feet in front of her, looked at her, sprinted to the tree line, but vanished in a blaze in mist. Was gone. Come on. Seriously, when you talk Dogman, we ain't talking Bigfoot at all. We're talking something that's paranormal, ethereal, supernatural. I mean, Bigfoot's got a lot of those commonalities, but this Dogman thing, I don't even think it's an animal, man. I think it's something much more.
Do you believe that it's
complicated.
demonic?
I think in some instances, perhaps, but not in all. Again, like Bigfoot, I think Dogman has no good intentions. I do believe it's part of the werewolf theory. Again, I don't think it's a man that turns into a creature. I mean, I don't, but I think some of it is demonic.
Well, that's a good question.
Some of it I think is demonic. Why are Dogman so violent? Never heard a story of them. Never heard a story of them being kind of curious. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're violent. Well, and of course, we can't associate with violence with demons, right? We just can't, because Mother Nature's violent. Tigers and lions are violent, but they do that to survive. They kill prey and are violent to live. This Dogman didn't kill nothing to live. He killed it because he got pleasure out of it. I didn't destroy a Dogman to kill this man's German Shepherd. I left it on his back porch. That's in the book.
Mm.
That was
you remember that story?
That was a terrible story.
Terrible story.
Yeah, that was a terrible story. It was great. The story was great. Great encounter, but it was so sad. You know,
I swear I'll admit it. I could have shed a tear for this person because it was terrible. You don't hear about Bigfoot killing your animals.
Can you tell us that story real quick, though? I mean, for all the ones that have not heard it, a condensed version of it, because it is such
I can't really remember it. Let me think. You know what I can?
Yeah,
I'd have to remember it because it's about 4 pages long. There's a lot of detail.
Yeah, it is such a good story.
A lot of events happened up till this guy's dog. His name was Rex. I remember him. I will not forget the name. His dog was Rex. In fact, the title of the story was my best friend Rex killed by Dogman. And it's about 4 pages long. And there's a lot of events that led up to the murder of Rex. But he thought he had some problem with this Dogman creature. There was something out there. He saw these oversized prints. He heard howls from the wood line. And this guy didn't know anything about cryptids, Dogman, Bigfoot, whatever. But he thought he had a big ass wolf hanging out and I don't even recall the state, hanging out in these big tracks. So he was scared for his dog, and his dog would always whimper and put his tail between his legs. His ears short ears for a German Shepherd, they would dwindle down. And his dog was so scared and afraid for the longest time. And so every time he let his dog out, he now started going out with his dog. He never let the dog alone. Mm-hmm. One night, and again, this story is so detailed, but again, the gist of the story, he let his dog out for 3 minutes, then he heard a yelp, and he couldn't find his dog. And he saw his dog's footprints going toward the tree line. Rex's pads, his paws, all of a sudden, the footprints kind of dissipated. They went away. But in place was oversized wolf feet. So it picked him up, took him into the woods. The guy went out looking for his dog in the woods, found him 2 days later, 2 miles into the woods. The dog was cut in half. Like a sword, chopped him in half. Wasn't eaten, wasn't fed upon outside of the rodents that got to it. Just pure evil intentions murdered his dog. This guy has not recovered from it.
I don't think I would recover from seeing my dog cut.
I would not either.
No.
Now, again, that story is a lot more detail. It's a good story that leads up to the tragedy.
Right.
But that's like the 2-minute version.
Yeah.
But the story talks about the man's love affair with his dog, his love of life, this man, his love with Mother Nature, and he's just such a nice man and had animals throughout his life. And the sad thing about this story is he was up there in age. He went through a lot of his animals had passed on, but he always replaced them. And he figured this would be his last dog. He figured he'd get 8 to 10 years life expectancy. It was murdered by a dogman or werewolf, whatever, in only 2 years.
And going out with your dog the whole time, I mean, I don't know if that would really protect them. I mean, they would get you too.
Well, great point. I
I
mean,
mean, you might be able to scare them off if you had a gun or something, or I don't know if even shining a light in their face would work. But yeah,
so I think someone asked the question if Dogman are evil. Well, I think they're evil. I'm not going to say demon, but I think that, hey, listen, I told 3 stories that are all gruesome. If the evil, that's sinister stuff, man.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Spike Fairy had something, and it was just something I'd seen on Facebook, and they said a thylacine to an Aussie is basically a real life Bigfoot sighting. Now, I don't know if anybody has seen these pictures that are out there right now of the.
The thylacine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are a little bit hard. Those are a little bit hard for me, only because I would think that if you could walk up on it that close to take a picture.
Yeah.
Because I would be like snap, 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 snap,
Was
snap,
that
snap,
a
snap,
picture?
snap, snap.
I'm confused though. Was that a picture or a what do you call it? Cam trail cam.
a trail cam.
I would assume that it's pictures because it's showing like a flashlight type of effect on the photo. So I'm assuming that it was photos being taken.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to think about those two because that is a very it's a weird looking animal. You know what I mean? And if you were not familiar with these type of animals, you could say it was something else. I mean, we even had somebody say, "Well, it looks like a dingo," and so we pulled up a picture of a dingo, and it definitely wasn't a dingo. So, misidentification sometimes can play a role in what you're seeing sometimes.
Yeah. I saw the pictures for the first time on Facebook, and I heard about the thylacine, but never bothered to, we're so busy, right? I didn't look into that particular cryptid. But then I saw the pictures, and I don't know if they're real, fake, or AI. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm the jury's out for me. I don't know.
I think it's a
truth
or tinfoil.
Yeah.
Well, we've done shows on this particular species now because they did exist on the earth at one time. They have been long extinct, So to see one of these is just wow. I wouldn't.
I gotta check out something, Paul. If you want to hold on to Fort with Brandi for a minute.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that I would say it was like I said, a dingo or a wild dog or something. I mean, because they do look distinct. And I mean, again, we're going back to, is it a werewolf or is it a dogman? Because people are trying to distinguish that there is a definite difference between the two of them.
Uh-huh.
So it just makes me wonder if some of these are just not exactly what they're seeing, that they may be seeing something else. I don't know. I don't know.
Or they're seeing what they want to see. I mean, they think that might be it, so they're saying that's what that is. And it kind of reminds me of, I was in Yellowstone many years ago, and in a field where the buffalo are, there's a sign above it by a parking lot that said, "Do not take pictures of the buffalo," and it showed an image of the buffalo in the field and a guy on a camera. And I looked down, and there's a guy actually standing in the middle of the field taking a picture of a buffalo. But it kind of sounds something similar to that. I wouldn't get anywhere near it to take a picture.
No,
got zoom lenses.
Right. I mean, I've got a Samsung telephone. A telephone. Here we go. Age. There's my age right there.
Is it rotary or push button?
It's rotary. Anyway, I mean, but it takes pictures. It takes great pictures in the dark, especially if you have a flashlight. You know what I mean? So I could stand back a ways with a flashlight, zoom in, and be able to take really darn good pictures.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know if this is misidentification or something else, or, at some point, because we were talking about it, thinking about these things may have perhaps bred with something else,
Mm-hmm.
and that they have passed their genetics on to another species of canine or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, could it be just from generations past that this thing is showing up that has stripes that resembles?
Now we're talking about a whole new thing.
I
A whole
know.
new cryptid, or wow.
A whole something, and I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would really have to study those pictures and take a good look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on that right now until we all talk about it. I've seen comments from yes to no to this or that or the other.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, could it be a Dogman is something from that was extinct years ago, or we thought was extinct and is now just popping back up?
Well, if you go back to those writings, or what do you call them? Not monoliths, but what do you call glyphs, or not glyphs?
Hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs.
Yeah, where there's ancient writing. Okay, let's go back so everybody knows this. Ancient Egypt have writings on their pyramids with human beings with dog heads on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this figure was worshipped as an idol, a demigod, I guess, right? Demigod, right? I don't know if they existed. People say they came from another planet, right? But I would tell petroglyphs. Thank you. So I mean, so they existed well before any of us were born or thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Way back to ancient Egypt, a Dogman type of object roamed the lands. Or at least the Egyptians worshipped something that was a human dog, I guess. Right. But I'm going to go back to my theory. I'm getting closer and closer. A lot of people ask Rob, Brandi, Paul, do you think they're the devil or a demon? In some instances, perhaps. But I'm going to tell you this. This is my opinion. As long as I've been doing this now since 2018, just based on people I talked to over the years, I do believe that a lot of these Dogman creatures are genetically made in laboratories. I do. I think that there's things out there being created and set off into our forests that we have no idea what they are. I mean, come on. I mean, there's a lot of sightings of the alleged Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of this, at least it's a subset of other subsets. I think they're got to be engineered. I believe today that we create so many crazy things. I think we create just crazy little amoebas or little molecules that they just disperse in the land and see if they grow. I think that's how crazy.
You think they have crazy kind of genetic things going on? I mean, look at the whole cloning project itself is kind of creepy.
It is, I mean, they cloned a lamb, right? A regular living, breathing lamb not too long ago, if that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's been a few years.
I think that
I'm sure they've done more.
They probably take all genetic genes. I think everybody's gene is used for something. They could get human DNA out of trash cans and grab it. I mean, it sounds crazy that scientists would go through that, but I think if they're desperate enough, they can do anything. Anything. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah, what do you think? Okay, so what do you think if they're doing this cloning or this genetic splicing and all of this crazy stuff? Would you have them clone like your loved one? If you lost a loved one too soon in life, would you have them clone them again?
Me personally, if we're talking about like a human being, a loved one, a father, mother, or kid,
Yeah, or
I would,
your brother, sister.
I would not.
No,
I would not. I would not.
you know, it to me, it kind of
try.
depends. You know, my parents probably not, because they're older and they're at their end of their life if they lived a long life.
Right.
But if you would lose a child early, maybe.
See, I think that's just kind of. I just think that's just
But yeah,
crazy.
I don't think that's like natural though. It's not, you know,
Yeah.
your husband and wife, your sperm, her egg, create the being, and now have it genetically cloned in a lab. I would think my kid's a freak, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's why I wouldn't do it. That's just me. I mean, people, I'm sure a lot of people might consider it. I don't know.
Well, see, for me, I would never do it, and the only reason why I would never do it is because even though that their genes are exactly the same, that their behaviorisms may be a little different, that it's not the same person. You know, they you know, they wouldn't be exactly the same.
And
they may smile the same, they may look the same, but they may not have the same personality. They may have, you know, they may develop a different type of personality.
And even for me, if they took my genetics and my wife's genetics and made a baby, if we lost one early from our baby, we didn't make it together as a married couple. So I know it was made in a lab, really, even though it might have the same DNA. I don't know, man. That's like
I just don't think so. That's why I don't think they should be doing this cloning thing.
Well,
yeah, I just don't know why they're doing this cloning thing.
Well, I think they are cloning humans.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing? I mean, honestly, what? I mean, is there not enough people in the world that we need to clone some more? It's like we have enough as it is.
Well, listen, this off the wall theory that I've had. I think that the New World Order, if we get into that, wants to control the population. And I think that they wouldn't mind if the human race died off 42%. But I do think that they would replace us. And we're talking like Nazism here with their perfect human. And I think they're right now working on cloning human beings to replace us to match their narrative or what they want them to do. And they'll program them with this artificial intelligence going on. I bet they just want to, let's face it, higher ups, much higher than our government, higher than the president. This goes to these oligarchies that have billions and trillions of dollars. None of us know who they are. And I know that they want to control everything, and they want to be able to control us as humans. You know, we already heard about them putting implantations into babies, computer chip in certain parts of the world. Right. So now I don't put anything past what's going to be, we'll all be dead by then to see this. But in 100 years, you and I, Brandi, Paul, we're going to be, people like us will probably be a product of creation outside of natural means. I think that's going to happen. I know it sounds all
we'll be pushing up daisies. Yeah, we'll be pushing up daisies.
Yeah, you know, we'll be watching from wherever you end up in life after we go to the new world. We'll be watching this stuff and cringing.
Right.
And cringing.
But it just makes me wonder. I mean, if Dogman. Oh, there we go. Woo, hello.
That was weird.
if Dogmen were engineered, okay, what are their purpose? I mean, are they going to be our new
I think
weapon, like a type of weapon, or because they seem uncontrollable? I don't see how you could control them.
Well, I think that I think the original idea behind this, and I was talking to Jody Cook. A lot of people know him. He'll be on the show in 2 weeks. And it was number one, a weaponized. In fact, if you go back to Hitler and that era, they were creating human fighting machines, which were actually human beings.
Mm-hmm.
But they were creating, Joseph Mengele was experimenting with people, trying to make them the ultimate fighting machine. Not the ultimate Nazi, but the ultimate fighting machine in the war. And I think that's probably. I think we've done that. I think all the countries copy each other. If Russia's doing this, so is the United States. So now China's going to do it because they want to stay equal with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And some do it better than others.
Well, JoJo said, "Are they supposed to be super soldiers? Perhaps.
Yeah,
But if they're kind of like
Star
loose
Wars.
cannons at this point, they're loose cannons.
Yeah.
So if that be the case, I just don't. I mean, I don't think what they're doing is working."
I had talked to this person, and this will be coming out in book 2, and they might be on the show, I think, in July. Cross our fingers, Brandi. Cross our fingers. That worked for an ABC agency, and she was extremely smart, and with genetics and DNA splicing and all these other cool things, right?
Right.
And she was retired, and she was paid a visit by these Men in Black type people. I'm just saying Men in Black. They probably dudes in suits, and they had offered her a job in genetic splicing. She goes, well, they offered her a handsome salary, enough to entice her out of retirement, right? So okay, she's like, well, I'll go visit your laboratory. They put her in this helicopter. They took her to this remote island, wherever the hell it was. So she's doing the tour, and she goes, look, and they gave her a tour of the plant, a tour of the facility. But she says, look, this is, I need to see the guts of this operation. You're showing me, roses and daisies. I need to see the guts. This woman tells me, this is a woman, she tells me they took her, okay, blindfolded her, took her on, she assumes it's an elevator, two of this, and she knows they're going down. Unblindfold her, she's walking through this facility, and she saw, that's what she told me. I would take it for what you will. Saw these big containers, glass containers, and in these containers were all these humanoid, crazy looking beings, creatures that they were working on. And they wanted her to be involved because these things, they couldn't quite get them to survive when they, quote unquote, tried to resuscitate them and bring them to actual life outside of the container. And she's like, no way. She's like looking at them like this is a Frankenstein horror flick or something, she's telling me. I talked to this lady like 9 months ago. And I said, man, you got to come on the show for this. I did release a story about it, though, a long time ago. And it's like, wow. And she, you know what? They would not let her out of her verbal contract for at least she gave at least 6 months of service. So what does that really tell you about the world we live in?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I
do I
couldn't do
believe
it.
that what she told me, she want 15 minutes of fame. I'm going to say I don't believe her. That's why I'm skeptical to have her come on, because I don't want to, torpedo my show with some bullshit, to be honest. Sorry for swearing. But, it does give you food for thought, does it not?
It does.
Is it possible? Hell, I don't know what's real in this world. I remember on my phone, 13 years old, on the telephone, talking to my buddy. You can never get a hold of your friends because you're in high school. Then you're in high school. You wait by your phone all day long. And I said, man, I wish there was something like this in my hand where I could call them automatically and furthermore, to see them face to face. I thought that
Yeah.
as a kid. And sure enough, when I hit 22 years old, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the cell phone happened, not the face to face, not like we have today. But you know, I'm getting
Right.
the point. And I thought that was out of this world thinking, when today's the reality. So what I just said about these test tubes with these creatures, is that really far fetched? I don't know. I beg to differ with a lot of these.
I don't know. I mean, we can all agree that the 3-letter agencies are doing stuff that we're unaware of, you know, and they're releasing these things, you know, just out there. You know, because
Yeah, Jojo, yes, I did. I did model planes. I don't know about the huge brick model plane, but yeah, I was pretty inquisitive as a kid.
yeah,
Now, it would make sense that they would create these soldiers instead of recruiting a bunch and well, then again,
I mean,
population control.
what a great way to save the population of your country. I mean, don't
Yeah.
send them. Don't send them.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean that would be an awesome. But the thing is,
And you
is
can create them to
control.
be the ultimate fighters.
Right. But it's just like, how would you control that though? That would be no.
Here's the thing.
You know, I don't think we could depend on technology.
Well, here's the thing.
We know how well that goes.
I think right now the government cannot control them because I think that I think they are creating some sort of creature. I call it Dogman or werewolf, whatever. I think they're out in the forest. I think they release them, and I think that the government realizes, or the ABC agencies realize, they can't control them. So I think that's where they're at right now. I think that's where they can't figure it out. It's not like they can get in back of a computer a simulated game and place them and make them do certain things. I think that these things that they've made have a mind of their own, if it even is a brain, right? So I think that they go haphazard. But you think, if you go back to, again, I hate to always talk about Nazis in Germany, but they wanted to create the super soldier, but it wasn't as advanced as talking like Dogman. They wanted their human soldiers to be 24/7 fighters. They wanted to have the advantage over, you know, Britain and the United States and all the other forces. So they came up with methamphetamine, which is today known as meth. So they created they created that and fed their soldiers meth. So their soldiers now fought 24/7 and meth makes you crazy. I guess, I don't know, but from what I've heard, right, makes you crazy and you just go 110%. You don't slow down until you die. But the thing is about copycats, that was happening in the war. It's true. You can look that up. It's on the History Channel, or it's on, hell, look it up on the internet. And guess what we did in the United States with our soldiers? We found out what was going on. Guess what we did? We did the same thing and gave that to our soldiers. So
not knowing the long-term effects.
Yeah, not knowing, right. But so what I mean about a copycat world, we all try to emulate what everyone's doing, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah. I mean, that's just another oops by, you know, the world's governments. You know, this is the world we're talking about, that they started giving their soldiers something and they did not know the long-term effects. No studies were done. They had no idea.
Yep. So
I don't know. I don't know.
Werewolf says, Nazi meth. Yep. Right.
Yeah, Nazi meth. I mean, and it's like they were showing a picture of one of the soldiers too, what he looked like pre-war, and then what he looked like after. And within 4 years, this man looked like he aged 20-something years.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like he had nothing in his eyes left. It was just like he was just there. You know, and it was so sad to see. I mean, you turned people of this world into drug addicts. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then on top of that, all the killing and stuff that they witness, and their friends, getting blown up next to them.
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
I mean, yeah, I watch a lot of that on Netflix. So I watch all that war stuff because I'm interested in history, and you learn a lot of things. I mean, you learn a lot of things that they don't have in the history book, which of course the history book that we had growing up is 100% rewritten anyways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Dogman. I don't know. I mean, before they were coined dogmen, we always knew them as werewolves.
Yeah.
And werewolves is a completely different thing.
Yeah, folklore for the most part.
Yeah, it was a completely different thing.
My
so
first
were they like I said, genetically made, and people just called and kept calling them werewolves until somebody actually gave them the name of dogmen, realizing that they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a great point. I don't know. I mean, I do have the belief that there are dog men that are dogs that walk bipedally. But not dogs, but what are they again? Who knows? Just when I'm referencing back to the guy I really liked before he passed, Butch Witkowski, and he's got Brian Bowden knows him very well. So does he's a friend of ours, Brandi, as you know, and one other guy. But he'd been researching Dogman for like before the 80s when it was a thing. He knew about them then. But he always called them the bipedal canine. Then he said he always thought that the werewolf dogman was something that was either supernatural or created by man. So that was his beliefs. And I tell you what, the guy had a lot of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Calling them dogman gives them human aspect. Yeah. I guess, man, right? Yeah, dogman.
I don't know. I mean, we all know where the word dogman came from, of course. Yeah. Tyler pointed it out. It's the Beast of Bray Road and blah, blah, blah. We know where that came from. But before that, werewolves or wolfmen or a wolfman is what I knew. But those two things are different.
They are. Oh, they're definitely different. And I knew I knew wolfman when I was like 8 or 9. 7 or 8, I don't know, when my dad showed me the black and white with Lon Chaney Jr.
Right?
The werewolf. The Wolfman was it called? Where the guy
Werewolf of London.
I can't remember now.
No, it's a black and white though, way back. Yeah.
I know, but I can't remember the name right now.
I think it was what was it called? That's probably a key here. Was it the Wolfman or werewolf? Wolfman.
I think it was Wolfman. I was Wolfman because it didn't turn into an entirely like it didn't go all the way to a wolf. It's still human.
Yeah.
But it had animal, like a canine-esque type
of look. Yeah. Yeah. And he got bit by a dog werewolf, if you remember. It was a dog that bit him.
Yes.
Passed on the curse as a man. That when the moon was full and the wolf bane bloomed.
Yes.
Every full moon you will turn into a werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then his old man had to kill him with a silver cane of course, fittingly, with a wolf's head at the end.
A wolf head for the handle.
And he beat him to death with his head, his own kid. Then the wolf man turned into his kid. Then all of a sudden he went nuts, like, what did I just do?
It just, right. Well, you didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even though back then, I mean, with their special effects makeup, it still looked like the same dude, It's just kind of like, how did you know that was your kid?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
How did you know? Well, anyway, everybody, we're reaching the 1.5 hour mark right now. We're going to give Mr. Paul a little bit of a break because he will be going on to Paranormal Roundtable here as soon as Josh starts up here after 9 o'clock. And then
Head
he's
on
got
over
to go
there
to
and take a
bed
look.
because he's got to get up and go to Ashmore Estates early in the morning. So he's got a lot of stuff to do.
I tell you, between now and Sunday night, I'm not going to sleep. So
what do they say? You'll sleep when you're dead, didn't they?
Randy says, y'all be quiet. I'm trying to sleep. And also, Brandi, as you know, on your channel throughout the day, Krista was telling me, and I'm sure, Brandi, you're well aware, it's usually be trying to do some lives on your guys' channel throughout the day.
Yes.
So make sure you have the Blinds and Booze alert bell on because she's bound to pop up at any time. So she's gonna run that through the night. But I have the exclusive because that's my Saturday night show at midnight. Myself, Brandi, and maybe Tex. We're doing a midnight show, 11 Central with Brandi live on the BMR channel on the Ashmore Estates. We're going to follow Krista around live tomorrow at midnight on my channel. Yes. But also, she'll be on the Blondes and Booze throughout the day. So definitely turn on the alert bell for Krista and Brandi for that. Give them some love, some views. But yeah,
and
at
don't
midnight,
forget,
midnight. And Paranormal Paul's got something else going on. Go ahead, Paul.
I'll be on at 7 o'clock tomorrow night from Ashmore as well. So
good.
7 Central. So make sure you
7 Central.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, everybody, Saturday is going to be nothing but Blondes and Booze. Ashmore Estates.
It's going to be an Ashmore Estate kind of day.
Yeah. This be great. This will be a great Saturday for all you homebodies.
That's right.
Subscribe to all of us.
Get out of the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know, because I'm sitting here going, man. I just want to be there. It's just like I know what this place can do.
Yeah.
I've seen it time after time. It does not disappoint. And I'm just like, I'm gonna miss it. But that's okay.
You'll be there in spirit, though.
I'll be there. I'll be there live with everybody else. So I'll get to see it with everybody.
We'll all get to see it all together. And I love live investigations. I'm geeked to have it done and watching it and doing it. And they're so fun. They're so fun. Even if you see nothing, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because, the best thing is you start with the comments and then you try to freak out the person who's on the other side of the camera that's walking through the haunted location. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah. So real quick, Paul, could you run through?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Had, Justin Boyd right off the top, 49. Thank you, Justin. We had DJ Tyler. Thank you, DJ. Ginger, a new member. Then we had Justin Boyd again. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
And then Justin Boyd again.
Yay!
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, Justin. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Justin. You're awesome, Justin. You're all awesome. Everybody watching is awesome. Chat and listening later. We love you all.
We love you all. And we'll see you all tomorrow. So make sure you turn on those notification bells on. Of course. Paranormal Among Us, of course, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and Blondes and Booze. Just keep checking the channels all day. There might be a new video that popped up somewhere. You never know.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
So,
great show.
We'll see everybody next week, next Thursday. All right.
Have fun,
bye, everybody.
Hang on a second. I'm not there. Hang on. Okay. Good night, everybody.